and we're not gonna stay on this one long either, man. But we had to know, bro. The curious case of Jalen Samuels. I felt like was that 2018. He had the insane game against the Patriots, right? You got the numbers for me on that?
I do. Yes, 172 total yards. Actually, no, I was going back and forth with all these free agents. I know
he went crazy.
Yeah, he had 172 total yards.
Was it 2 touchdowns?
He had at least a touchdown, I believe. Hold on, I got it. Give me 1 second here. But no, he went off that game. And what was surprising when we look back on the game logs is he did a lot of that on the ground. I thought he had much more in the receiving game because that's kind of what he became known for.
Right.
As his career went on, it was like, oh man, he's going to be this multifaceted running back. We put him at tight end. He's this good receiving back. Yeah, he only had 2 catches for 30 yards in that game. He had 19 attempts rushing the ball for 142 yards. No touchdowns, though.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he just went off that game.
That game, he was the talk, right? And then obviously throughout this offseason, we've talked about the different running backs that have come in. Najee Harris obviously has dominated the headways. And then even Kalen Ballage. But hearing people talk about Kalen had people bringing up Jalen Samuels. And I wanted to know from you, from the people, like, do y'all still feel like Jalen is a capable running back? Do you think that he makes the team? Do you think he fits in with this running back route right now? Because when I think of Jalen, I'm like, that game was crazy against the Patriots. He showed flash. Then I remember he was pivotal in terms of us beating the Bengals. Was that following week or 2 weeks later when he was doing all the Wildcat stuff?
Yeah, well, this was in 2019.
Oh, yeah, so that was the following season, right?
Yeah, he had a really good game against Bengals. He actually had a couple passes where he was shuffling it forward, so they gave him 3 for 3 for 31 yards doing that. He had 8 receptions, 57 yards. He had 26 on the ground, so he had a lot of all-purpose yards in that Cincinnati game. He had a touchdown, and that was something at that point. Our offense was terrible. I mean, Ben got hurt in that Seattle game. San Fran, well, yeah, we were 0-3 at this point. And even though the San Fran game was close, the only reason it was close is because they let it be close. They gave us literally like 5 or 6 turnovers. Offense was stalling.
It was like nuts, bro.
The only reason we got that one touchdown late was because they brought in, I think, that backup cornerback, and we tested him.
The shot on him.
Yeah, it was the first play. Yeah. Outside of that, we had that shot with Deontay, and then Juju taking it to the house for like 75. We had no other offense.
Yeah, you're right.
So for Jalen Samuels and Connor to be doing that Wildcat stuff with the Cincy game, it was just a really solid game all around. And then after that, he did nothing rest of the season. He had 13 receptions for 73 yards against Indy, which I remember that, man. Mason was just plopping. Like, he was just checked down left and right. And then if you look at it, it's 13 receptions for 73 yards. Like, it's
Deke and Dots, man.
It was, but actually, I thought that was Mason's best game at the time. And then he had a touchdown against Cleveland in that Thursday night one. I don't know if you remember that.
Are you talking about the helmet one?
Yeah, the helmet game. He had the one touchdown, but still, he had 5 rushes for 26 yards, 5 receptions, 19 yards in that touchdown. It was just on like a swing pass, but then last year he did nothing too. So.
But it's fun. I'm looking at these comments right now, right, in terms of the perception around Jalen Samuels. And this is, I'm just going to read a couple real quick. All right. So here we go. Jalen Samuels, this is from Rod Dow's, right? He says he's going to make the team.
Whoa.
Because he has the most natural hands in the running back room. Destin versus the world? I really like Samuels. He fits. Let's see. Now this is interesting right here. Ontarius Barnes says he looked like Jalen Samuels had picked up weight last year. He was like a thicker player. All right, make a case for that. I don't know if he was as explosive or not. I don't feel like he got enough opportunity.
I just remember us actually putting him in at the worst times. Where it's like, why is he on this 3rd and short? Just give it to Snow. It's bad, man. Like that.
Absolutely. All right, now Paz says he's going to be gone. He doesn't think that he's going to be here. Now, Toxic One North, hot take. I think McFarland could get the boot.
Wow.
All right. Okay. And now
we still have 5 or 6 running backs. So there's going to be 2 that get
2. Got it. Yeah, because you got Trey Edmonds. You have was it Trey? Jaylen, Kalen, there's a lot of Alens and Galens. You got Benny, McFarland, and then you got
Harris.
Najee. Yeah, that's 6.
Yeah.
Jeez.
3. I mean, you'd assume Edmonds probably. And then that's actually interesting for those last two.
Now, Kenneth Beamer says he had, talking about Jaylen again with the hands. Now, I did see something in here about Trey. I'm trying to find that comment. Because Call Me K says they could move, or they should move, they should move Samuels to tight end and cut Zach Gentry.
Oh, yeah, easily.
I remember he was like, "Who's this guy?"
I've been calling for Samuels at tight end since they gave him that designation.
Oh man,
and you could do it in Madden and stuff easily. Yeah, we're good. We don't need Gentry, man. We don't.
And here we go right here. So Thomas Riley says Jalen Samuels is the forgotten child of the Steelers. I'm trying to find where it was in the comments section, but this was like the perfect comparison of who James Jalen's areas right here. So Jethro Scooter says Jalen Samuels is the James Washington of the running back room.
I think James Washington's better.
Okay, but they both have very, very small sample size, right? Now, granted, James had the one season where he actually led the team in receiving, so I would,
with Mason and Duck, I mean, over 700 yards is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, we'll give him the nod for that, because I was like, outside of that, we don't see a lot of productivity from. I mean, like James has his flashes, but yeah, I'm still gonna go. Yeah, I'm going James. I feel like James has consistently been more impactful with his opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Like last year, think of some of those touchdowns.
James will have 2 targets, 1 touchdown for 50 yards. Like that's what he does. Whereas with Jaylen, we talked about like now. Granted, I do feel like we both agree that they utilize Jaylen bad at times. It's kind of like, why do you want to put him in this situation? But to each his own, to each his own.
I think he had really bad luck, in my opinion, because that Patriots game, even like the Saints game, did he play another game or two in that 2018 season? But I thought he was really good.
He was that, yeah.
And remember, this was the season where James Conner got the start all season, made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And then to see Jalen Samuels come in when Conner got hurt and do what he did against the Patriots Saints game, you're just like, man, we definitely don't need Bell. We might not even need Conner. I don't even care what running back we throw out here. So going into that offseason, Jalen Samuels proved all that stuff at the end of the 2018 season. You were thinking, like, he brings something to the table that Conner can't. Conner's the more bruising running back. He is a pretty decent pass catcher, but it seems like Samuel, he could bring a different element in that pass catching, and who knows what type of maybe 2 running back sets we could use, or if Samuels will be spelling Conner more than we think coming in. He was like even like a fantasy sleeper, I think people were talking about him. But what screwed him was, in my opinion, Ben getting hurt in that Seahawks game. And then all of a sudden,
that did change the outlook of everything.
We have Mason coming in, then Connor's getting hurt left and right, and then Samuels does have to take a larger workload. But then you see, like, he's not really the guy. Maybe our offensive line was declining a little bit. Like, I think he had the perfect storm at the end of 2018 with where our offense was. But then just the fortunes completely flipped, because then we drafted Benny Snell that 2019 season. When you see Samuel's not really getting anything going. We gave Snell a couple chances where he did well in like the Bengals game.
Yep.
And then the offseason comes again. We draft McFarland. So you thought Snell had more upside than Samuel. We draft McFarland. He's bringing an element that none of our running backs can have. So we had this conversation last year. We were like, was Samuels the forgotten guy when we had the 4 running backs? But now it's even worse because we just drafted Najee Harris. And it feels like we didn't even use Samuel at all last year. And when we did, it was bad.
And some people are high on Kalen Ballage as well. Sure. So, I mean, it's just added to that room, man. Now, looking back in the chat right here, Rod Dollars thinks that McFarland is going to be on the practice squad this year. Well, I mean, we talked about how deep the room is right now, man.
I know. I mean, someone's going to get cut.
It's going to be good players that are going to be on the street. Like, that's how it happens.
Yeah, either Snell, McFarland, Samuels. Man, if I had to bet, what would your bet be right now?
In terms of what?
If the 2 out of the 5 who would be cut. Maybe this is too soon.
This is
because if McFarland,
I need to see some preseason too.
Yeah, if McFarland looks different than what he did last year.
Yeah, because think about how good Benny Snell looked year 2 in the preseason versus well, obviously he didn't get the preseason, but in year 2 compared to remember in year 1, we were like, yo, we thought that
his preseason was terrible.
We thought he should have got cut for Trey. Because we were like, man, Trey looks like the better player, more explosive, twitchier, like productive.
He looked way better in that regular season, like in the Chargers game, and then when he came in the Bengals game too.
And he had a nice run in that Seahawks game too that year. He had the little 20-yard third down run. So man, this is interesting though.
I don't think so. Unless we switch him to tight end, I do think he's gonna get cut.
But now, this is Joga. Make sure I say that right. Joga says Samuels is kind of short for tight end, right? Yes. And I was going to say, has always been my big knock when people talk about moving Jaylen to tight end. If I never got a chance to like see him in person, like stand next to him, it might be different. I'd be like, well, you know what? Maybe it's just the angle. Maybe he's a little bit bigger, taller, and things like that. Seeing him in person.
He's shorter than you?
He's a small guy. Not little, but smaller. And, well, now I don't want to do this. Because I was going to say the big issue that I would have with him at tight end obviously would be blocking. Mm-hmm. But then I said, it can't be too big of an issue because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. But it can't be worse.
Well, if he's going to be your third tight end, that's probably going to be a requirement, the blocking, right?
Right. That's what I'm thinking, because you're not going to be the target guy. You're going to be the guy to come in on the grunt work, 1st and 10 or short yardage. Like, that's not what you're doing. That's not his game. I'm thinking to myself, and this is how I always gauge it. I say, me retired. You know if you got a guy or not. You know if a guy can block you or not. If he ain't blocking me and I'm retired, I ain't seeing that, man. I ain't seeing it, baby. I ain't want to do, but it's the athlete in me, right? As an athlete, I size up everybody out. If I feel like
we should do that, the Moats versus Jalen Samuels challenge.
If I feel like you're athletic a little bit when we first meet, I'm gonna check you out. I got him. And when I look, I'm just like, if we're talking routes, I like Jaylen, like him a lot. Running that rock, I like him a lot. He ain't blocking me though. No. And that's a key component. Like you said, if you're the third tight end, you have to be able to block. Have to be. So that's my only thing with that.
I think he had some bad luck. I really do, because if Ben doesn't get hurt in 2019,
that could have changed it. That could have changed the trajectory for his career, man.
Connor got hurt. I mean, he was getting hurt too. Like, it's not one of those things where you could look back.
Why you gotta say
No, my reason for saying that is like, in 2019, if Connor was healthy and Samuels was healthy and everything, and they're doing these two running back combinations, or Samuels is getting time and things are just humming on offense, like, he may have just carved out a role there.
Yeah.
But with Connor getting hurt, all of a sudden he had to become the main guy. Ben was out. So I think it was a bad string of luck for him, and then he just became the forgotten man.
It's like
it's crazy. Man. Yeah, it's crazy how some of those things. But then if you just think about it a little bit more, you're like, dude, if you're that good, you find a way. Where it's like, we're not trying to make these arguments or cases for you like the third or fourth running back on the team. It's like, dude,